Hello everyone. Welcome to our series of lecture on financial statements and analysis. In the last session, we started our discussion from chapter number 4 and we discussed some of the current assets because chapter number 4 is related to analysis of investing activities. So today we are going to cover how we are going to analyze the inventories. So let's start our session. Since you guys already know that inventories are also part of our current assets, and inventories are basically recorded in three different, are recorded in the company's statements in three different ways. So we are going to see how these are recorded. So let's try to discuss first of all what are inventories. You can see in front of you in this slide that inventories are goods held for sale or goods acquired or are in process of being readied for sale as part of the company's normal operations. These inventories are something which the company have, and these are basically the goods which the company is going to sell. These inventories basically are of three types. They can be in the form of raw material. They can be in the form of work in process, some goods which are on which the company have done some partial process, but still not completed the process, and these are not finished goods. And last part is the finished good. The finished goods of inventory are those inventories which on which the company have completely done all the process and they are ready for sale. Now these inventories, as you guys already remember, matching principle or expense matching. In that concept, we said that there are two costs: product cost and period cost. When these product costs and period costs are there, then we need to take out that portion of the inventory and put it in the income statement which is related to this period or which is related to the amount which we are selling in this year. So these need to be expensed out, and we know that when we need to expense out these ones, we have to write them in the income statement. So you can see in this slide, expensing treat inventory cost like a period cost. Costs are reported in the period when they are incurred. On the other side, those inventories which the company is unable to sell or which are under process or which are work in progress, then these inventories need to be capitalized, and you can see capitalizing treat inventory cost like product cost. Costs are capitalized as an asset, as a current asset in this case, and subsequently charged against the future period revenues benefiting from their sales. So this is a little idea about the inventories. Let's try to see that what are different ways to calculate these inventories. First of all, as I already mentioned, that these are the three main inventory valuation techniques. One is called LIFO, the other one is called FIFO, and the third one is called the weighted average. LIFO and FIFO are two extremes of inventory valuation. FIFO stands for first in, first out, and LIFO stands for last in, first out. And weighted average is the average, which is in between this you can say the measure of central tendency, which is in between the LIFO and FIFO methods. So let's try to discuss them one by one. You can see, first of all, we are going to discuss FIFO. In the FIFO, it means first in, first out. In FIFO method, the oldest cost is written in cost of goods sold as cost of goods sold, which means that the oldest cost, we are going to expense them out in the income statement. Whereas the recent costs mean the cost of the raw material which we are purchasing for our business to produce goods and services. The recent cost inventory is basically recorded in the balance sheet or is capitalized. Now, next one is LIFO. LIFO is last in, first out, totally opposite to FIFO. In the LIFO method, the recent costs are reported in cost of goods sold. in the income statement, which means that the recent costs are expensed out in the income statement. On the opposite side, the oldest cost, we are going to write them as the inventory value as a current asset in the balance sheet, or we can also say that we can capitalize them in the balance sheet. Next, you can see over here the average cost, average inventory valuation technique. In the average weighted average valuation technique, we basically calculate the average of the total inventories. We add the inventories which we are buying them in this period or in the next period. So we will add all the inventory levels and we will divide them by the total number of units. When we will divide them by the total number of units, then we will get an average cost per unit. And we will use this average cost per unit to expense the inventories out in our income statement in terms of cost of goods sold. And on the other side, we will also capitalize them at the same cost per unit. These things are a little bit vague at the moment because we are just going through the examples or the theoretical part of it. Let's try to do one of the numerical example in order to understand, in order to see that how these effects are going to take place in the real world. So let me switch to another screen so that you can see, the example which we will need to solve it over here. So over here, you can see this example we are going to solve today in order to understand the inventory valuation techniques and the effect of valuation on the income statement and balance sheet. First of all, let's try to understand this question. The question says that a company has some inventory purchases and sales data for the month of March. And over here, you can see that inventory on 1st of March is 200 units. And we purchased these 200 units at the price of $4. So the total amount we spent on this inventory is 4 times 200, which is $800. Then after some time, we purchased nearly about on 10th of March, we purchased 500 units. But when we purchased these 500 units on 10th of March, because you can see the date is changing, when we are purchasing new units, then we are purchasing them at a higher price. So let's try to understand it like this. Let's try to make a small storeroom for us in order to understand this example. So this box is going to represent our storeroom where we save our inventories. In this storeroom, we purchased, first our opening balance was 200 units and we purchased them at 4. Then on this 10th of March, we purchased 500 units at the price of 4.5. Then you can see after 10th of March, we are selling some units, 500 units we are selling. Okay, we can ignore this at the moment. We will move to the next part of the purchases. After 15th, again comes 20th. On the 20th, we are purchasing 400 units. And these 400 units we are purchasing even at a high price, which is 4.75. Then we are again selling something. After that, we are again purchasing on 30th. We are purchasing 300 units at the price of 5. So now you can see this is representing our storeroom. And in this storeroom, we are putting the inventory in stacks. And the oldest inventory goes at the bottom. This is the oldest inventory. This is our 1st of March. Then we purchased some inventory on 10th of March. Then we purchased some inventory on 20th of March. And then we purchased some inventory on 30th of March. So you can see as the time goes by, the value of inventory, the price or the cost of the inventory is increasing from $4 to 4.5 to 4.75 to $5. Now, let's try to understand over here. By the way, in all these evaluation, inventory valuation techniques, LIFO, FIFO, weighted average, when we purchase inventory, there is no effect on income statement or balance sheet. We are purchasing, we will record the purchases at the value at which we purchase them. So there is no impact of these things. The problem comes when we sell something. This is the idea, where the problem comes when we sell something. So let's try to understand first of all, first technique, which is called FIFO, first in, first out. This method will be much more clear if we use these two arrows over here to understand them. If we put these two arrows like this, you will have a clear understanding. It means that this inventory we are first in, putting in the store, first in and first out, FIFO. So it means that we are buying an inventory, and when we buy this inventory, we are selling those units first. We are selling first out. We are selling those units first, which we purchased earlier, which means that our cost of goods sold is going to have a lesser value, or the expensing out which we are going to do in the income statement will have a lesser value as compared to our balance sheet. So our balance sheet will be overvaluing the assets, whereas our income statement will be overvaluing the cost. Sorry, undervaluing the cost, but overvaluing the total profit. So this is the FIFO method. Let's try to understand it over here by using a little bit the table which we have over here. So in the table, you can see we have date, purchase, cost of goods sold, and the balance. These are the four main things which we are going to use over here. We need to go by chronological order, which means that we have to follow the time period. Let's try to write it them one by one. So 1st of March. We will start with 1st of March. You can see this 1st of March. So we will highlight this over here. 1st of March is our opening balance. We will write over here 1st of March. So 1st of March, what is happening? Are we purchasing something? No. Are we selling something? No. What is our balance? This is the inventory which we are bringing from the last period. So what is the balance over here? The balance is this thing which we write over here, 200 units at the cost of 4 per unit, which is giving us total value of our opening balance of inventory, which is 800 units. Next, let's come to the next point. In the next point, we are going to discuss, let me make some space because, yes, please. Now, let's try to go to the next period after 1st of March. There is 10th of March. And what is happening on 10th of March? Then we will write over here 10th of March. What is happening on 10th of March? Are we buying something? Are we selling something? So on 10th of March, you can see that we are purchasing 500 units. So we will write over here purchase of 500 units at what price? At the price of 4.50. What is the total amount? The total amount ends up to be $2,250. No sales in this period, which means that we have to put all the inventory in our storeroom. Previously, we have 200 units at $4. Now, these 200 units we will write them again over here because this is our old inventory. Next, this we are buying, we will write over here our new inventory level at 4.50, which is equal to $2,250. So I think so up till here, it is very clear. So we are actually doing what? We are actually following this box over here, which we made earlier. Then after 10th of March comes 15th of March. On 15th of March, we are selling 500 units. So we will write over here 15th of March. We are not purchasing, so we will make it a blank over here. And then on 15th of March, we are selling 500 units. Now, problem comes at this point when we sell something. According to first in, first out method, we need to sell these 200 units first. Total units which we want to sell is 500. So we need to sell 200 units first. Then after selling these units, we need to take 300 from these 500 units. So what we will do over here, rather than writing 5, we will write 200. 200 at what cost? At the cost of 4, which is $800. Next, we are going to write 300 over here at the cost of 4.50. So 300 times 4.50 will give us $1,350. Total you can see, we are selling 500 units. So this, on 1st of March, we sold this much units. Now, when we are going to write the rest of our remaining balance of inventory, in the remaining balance of our inventory, we will write, because we have taken 300 from these 500 units. So out of these 500 minus 300 remains 200. 200 at 4.50, which is going to end up in $900. So this is our closing balance on 15th of March. Next comes, after 15th of March, next comes 20th of March. You can see over here, 20th of March. So we will write over here 20th of March. On 20th of March, we are purchasing something. What are we purchasing? We are purchasing, you can see over 20th of March, we are purchasing 400 units. So we will write over here 400 units. At what price we are purchasing? $4.75. And when we multiply these two, it will give us $1,900. So we are not selling anything over here. We will put a blank over here. Now we will need to write the total balance in our storeroom. So we have a last balance. We have an last inventory balance 4.50, which is our $900. Then this we purchased just now. We will write 400 at 4.75, which is equal to $1,900. Now after 20th of March, you can see we need to go to 25th of March. On 25th of March, we are selling 400 units. So we will write over here 25th of March. How many units we are selling? We are not purchasing anything. So a blank over here, we are selling 400 units. Now 400 units we are selling, which means that we need to take 200 from this one and we need to take 200 from this one. So we will write over here 200 we will sell, which is the oldest one. This is the oldest one. And 200 which we are selling, we will take it from this one. So 4 times 4.75. So 200 times 4.50 is $900, and 200 times 4.75 is equal to $950. So this was our balance. Now after selling 200 of these units, we are left with this 200. But which unit? This unit or this unit? We are left with these unit 475. So 200 times 4.75 is going to give you $950. After 25th of March, next comes the 30th of March. You can see over here 30th of March. On 30th of March, what we are doing on 30th of March, we are selling 300 units. Sorry, we are purchasing 300 units. So we will write again 30th of March. We are purchasing. So under the column of purchase, we will write 300 units at $5, which is $1,500. And since we are not selling anything, all the inventory will go to our balance. So this is our opening balance, 200 at 4.75, which is 9.50. Next is 300 at $5, which is $1,500. So in end, our cost of goods sold will be the sum of these and sum of these. When we add all these up, then it will be representing our cost of goods sold, which is going to give us $400. On the other side, this is, by the way, in our income statement. This will go in the income statement as expense or as a cost. On the other side, in our balance sheet, we will be writing inventory as an asset at the value of just add these two things up, because this is our balance. So $2,450. Yes, please. So this is how we are going to value the inventory when we are going to have FIFO technique in front of us, first in, first out. You can see that we are reporting 4,000 as CGS. We are reporting 4,000 as CGS, and we are reporting 2,450 as our inventory as an asset in the balance sheet. Now let's try to move to our LIFO method in order to understand what is the difference between them. So let's go to LIFO method. Yes, now we are going to do exactly the same question, but now we are going to follow the LIFO method. In this LIFO method, again, let's try to make the same storeroom for us in order to understand the same example. So we are going to make the same box over here. This box is representing our storeroom where we put our inventory. In this box room, again, we are going to put the inventory in different stacks. So the first inventory which we are putting over here is we purchase them at $4. Then we purchase some inventory at 4.5. Then we purchase some inventory at 4.75. And then we purchased at $5. So this is the inventory which we are purchasing. In the previous example, which we just finished, in the previous example, we had, in order to understand, we did this. We did this first in, first out. Now we are doing LIFO, last in, first out. In this last in, first out, basically the difference is, can you see these arrows? The arrows now will become something like this: last in, first out. This means that when we are going to sell the inventory in LIFO method, we are going to sell those inventories which are purchased just now. One basic question which the students ask over here, that which companies use LIFO? Which companies use LIFO? Those companies use LIFO. Let me hide this so that you can understand much more detail. So those companies use LIFO where the companies or the business is of such a nature where the inventory can expire. For example, dairy products, for example, pharmacy or the medicines which have expiry dates, and because they have an expiry date, there is a chance that they can expire quickly. So the sellers the producers like to sell those inventories first, which they purchased first. So FIFO is used mostly on those businesses. And where we use LIFO method, because in the LIFO method we are selling the most updated inventory. So LIFO method is basically used for the inventory or for those businesses which are using, which are more related to fashion industry, or where the updated models are much more in demand rather than the old models. So LIFO is used on those methods. Let's try to do the same example over here under LIFO method. So LIFO. In the LIFO, you will see over here under LIFO, we are exactly doing the same question. There is no change in the question. So in the LIFO method, let's try to follow the same technique which we followed in the FIFO method. We are going to first of all go according to the time period chronologically. So 1st of March. So I will write over here 1st of March. In 1st of March, we are not purchasing anything. There is no sold. We are not selling something. In fact, this is our opening balance of inventory. I am writing over here 200 at $4. So total inventory opening balance for us was $800. Now comes the 10th of March. We are moving next in time. So 10th of March. In 10th of March, we are purchasing. So we will write these 500 units in the purchase column. 500 units we are purchasing. At what price we are purchasing? At $4.50, which is giving us $2,250. We are not selling anything. It means all of this goes to our storeroom like this. So over here, we are going to write first of all the opening balance of inventory, 2 at $4, which is $800. Next, this 500 at $4.50, which is equal to $2,250. As I already mentioned before, the problem comes when we sell something. So now we are selling on 15th of March. On 15th of March, we are not purchasing anything. In fact, we are selling. How many units we are selling? 500 units we are selling. Now, in this case, in FIFO, we sold these units first. But in LIFO, we will sell the top units first, which means that we need to sell these units. We need to sell these units, not these units. Last in, first out. So we will sell these units. So these units are over here. And these are actually 500 and we need to sell 500. So we will take the total cost over here, 500 units at 4.50. It will end up to $2,250. Remaining balance of inventory will be 200 at $4, which we are not selling, which is equal to 800 total closing balance of our inventory. Now, after 15th of March, we are heading towards 20th of March. So you can see over here, 20th of March. On 20th of March, we are purchasing. How much we are purchasing? We are purchasing 400 units. So we will simply write over here the date, 20th of March. We are purchasing 400 units. And 400 units we are purchasing at the price of $4.75 per unit, which is total purchase of $1,900. So we are not selling anything. What will be our total inventory? Opening balance. We need to write the opening balance again, 200 at $4, which is 800. We are writing the same thing over here. Then this we are purchasing now new inventory, 400 at $4.75, which is giving us $1,900. Now after 20th of March, then comes 25th of March. And on 25th of March, we are selling 400 units. So next comes 25th of March. We are not purchasing anything, but we are selling 400 units. So over here, because we are using LIFO, we will sell the last units which we just purchased. So we will write over here 400. We need to sell 400. So there is no difference. We don't need to take any units from the above balance. So 400 at $4.75, which is giving us total $1,900 of sales. And our balance in the balance sheet will be reporting 200 units at $4, which is equal to $800. Next, after 25th of March comes the 30th of March, and on 30th of March we are purchasing 300 units. So 30th of March we are purchasing 300 units. 300 units we are purchasing at what price? At $5. Total purchases $1,500. We are not selling anything. Let's put a blank over here and we are going to write the same value over here. So 200 at 4 units, which is our opening balance. Next, we are purchasing these. We will write over here 300 at $5. So $1,500. So in order to calculate our total cost of goods sold in our income statement, we will add these two values. These two values will be our total cost. When we add these two values, it ends up to be $4,150, and it goes to our income statement. And when we need to calculate our balance sheet value of inventory, we will add these two balances which are unsold and still available with us. So 15 plus 8 is basically $2,300. This is our closing balance, which is going to be represented in our balance sheet, and this goes into income statement. So you can see the difference between these two. If I show you the difference between these two, you can see the difference. This is FIFO, and this is FIFO, and this is LIFO. So you can see the difference now. In FIFO, we are reporting 4,000 in the income statement. 4,000 in the income statement, which means that we are reporting less expenses in the income statement. When we report less expenses or less cost in the income statement, it means that we are overstating our net income. On the other side, if you see, our inventory balance is recorded more as compared to LIFO method, which means in the FIFO method, we are overstating our net profit and we are overstating our current assets, or we are overstating our assets. On the other side, if we use, or a company use LIFO method, then in the LIFO method, the company is overstating expenses, means understating net income, and they are also understating current assets or the assets which they need to report in the balance sheet. So these two are basically two different extremes of calculating the value of the inventory. Next comes, because these are two extremes, we need to see that what is the midway, what is the average, what is the midway around in order to understand this. So let's try to use the same example, but now we are going to do the third method, which is our inventory valuation method using weighted average. Weighted average. So let's try to make over here, because we are drawing a diagram. So let's try to make a diagram also for this method. So the diagram for this method is exactly the same. These are different levels of inventory. In these different levels of inventory, we are purchasing first level at 4. Next, we are purchasing 4.5. Next, we are purchasing 4.75. Next, we are purchasing at 5. But now the arrows will be something like this. The arrows will be something like this, average. Most of the time, the average method of inventory valuation is being used by those businesses which need not to have any differentiation between the old level or old inventory and the new inventory. For example, if I give you example like like petrol stations. In the petrol stations, the old inventory of petrol or new inventory of petrol is totally the same thing, because 91 when we purchased last month will be the same as 91 petrol which we purchased this month, or the premium petrol which we are purchasing this month and putting it in our container is going to be the same as which we are purchasing now. So we cannot differentiate that, or we need not to differentiate that which inventory level we purchased last month and which inventory which we purchased this month, because they are exactly the same. So weighted average is used basically in these type of businesses. Let's try to discuss the weighted average method. Exactly the same idea, but in this we are going to have a little bit difference. So over here, 1st of March, we will again grow chronologically, 1st of March. So on the 1st of March, what is happening on 1st of March? What is happening? We are purchasing something. No, we are not selling something. Yes, we are not selling something. So it means this is representing our opening balance of 200 units at 4, which is total opening balance of 800 units of inventory. Next, after 1st of March, we have 10th of March. 10th of March, we are purchasing something. So we will write over here 10th of March. We are purchasing 500 units. At what price? At 4.5. What will be the total value we are purchasing? $2,250. Are we selling something on this date? We are not selling something on this date, which means that we need to add the same value of inventory over here. But now when we write this inventory value, we need to add this 200 and this 500. So 200 of this and 500 of this, total becomes 700. Next, 800 of our old inventory, 2,250 our new inventory. So these two will be we will add these two also. 800 plus 2,250, it is going to become $3,050. Now the problem is we need to calculate this per unit cost. Very easy to calculate this per unit cost. We will simply use this value. We will 3050, this value, we will use this value, and we will divide this value by total units which we have, 700. When you divide this, then you will receive 4.357. This is our new unit cost. This means that if we want to sell something now, then we will be selling at this cost per unit, which means our next date we are selling something, we are selling 500 units. So I will write over here 15th of March. So selling how many units? 500 units. So simply we will sell 500 units from these 700, but at a cost of 4.35. So 4.357. So 5 times 400, 4.357 is $2,179. If we sell 500 units now, out of these 700, how much will be left over? So 700 minus 500 is 200 units, but again at the cost of 4.357, which will give us a total value of $871. Now again, after 15th of March, what is our next date? Our next date is 20th of March. So we will go to 20th of March. On 20th of March, we are purchasing 400 units at 4.75. So 400 times 4.75 is 1900 units. Again, when we are going to write it in the balance, it will be cumulative. So 200 plus 400 is 600. This we don't know, but we know 871 and we know 1900. So 1900 plus 871 is 2771. This 2,771, when we divide it by 600, it comes out to be 4.618. So this is our balance. Now after 20th of March, we are selling. Next is 25th of March. On 25th of March, what is happening? We are not purchasing. In fact, we are selling. How much? 400 units. So we are going to take 400 from these 600. When we take 400 from these 600, in the balance, it will left 200. At what price we are going to sell them? We are going to sell them at this average price. So at 4.618. So 4.618 times 400, it comes out to be 1,847. And 200 times 4.618, it comes out to be $924. Right? After 25th of March, next is our 30th of March. On 30th of March, we are purchasing 300 units. So we will simply write over here 30th of March, we are purchasing 300 units. At what price? At $5. Total amount we are purchasing for is 1,500. So now in order to write it over here, we will cumulate it again. We are not selling anything. So 200 plus 300, 500. We don't know this amount, but we know this total. We know this total. We add 1,500 plus 924. So it gives us 2,424. This divided by the total number of units which we have will give us per unit cost $4.848. So what will be recorded in our, when we use weighted average, what will be recorded in our income statement? In our income statement under CGS, we will record the total of these two values. And the total of these two values is $4,026. On the other side, in our balance sheet, we will be recording only, so let's write it over here. Balance sheet, we will be recording closing balance of our inventory, 2,424. So this is our average, weighted average method to calculate the inventory, weighted average method. Now let's try to see the comparison. Let me show you the comparison of these three in order to understand it. So we used LIFO, FIFO, and weighted average. These are the three things which are in front of you. Now you can see by yourself. Let me hide this one so that it doesn't confuse you guys. So let's hide this one. So if I show you, yes, please. This is weighted average. This is weighted average. You can see over here, FIFO method, we are writing more expenses as a cost in our CGS as compared to under FIFO method, we are recording less expenses as compared to LIFO and as compared to weighted average. So over here, we are overstating. We are writing less expenses, which means we are overstating our net income. On the other side, if you see that we are overstating our balance of the assets in the balance sheet. Same thing, closing balance in the LIFO, we are recording it less. But if you see the weighted average is in between. Actually, it is in between 4,026. This number is in between these two. If you see weighted average closing balance 2,424, this is this balance is 2,424. I think so. We need to see this. So if 2,424, if you see that this is in between these two extremes. So LIFO and FIFO are two extreme, and the weighted average is in between these two methods. And this is how, if the company is going to use this method, FIFO, LIFO, or weighted average, this is how it is going to have an impact on the balances in the income statement and also in the balance sheet. I hope so that things are very clear over here. We will go back to our slides and I will continue from our slides onward. If there will be any question, I will be taking your question in the next interactive session. So we just discussed these three inventory valuation techniques in the slides, which you can see in front of you. In these slides, you are required to do this illustration by yourself, which will help you in order to understand. This is a very simple illustration. In this illustration, you can see that there is an opening balance of inventory which is of 40 units, and we purchased this inventory at previously we purchased this inventory at $500, and now we are purchasing only one new item. The next purchase is of 60 units. But we are selling over here total, if you see, if I can highlight, we are selling over here 30 units. When we are selling 30 units, then we will calculate accordingly the cost of goods sold, and we will calculate the sales and the balance accordingly. So this is a little bit for your understanding. I have already solved with you a detailed inventory valuation model using that example. But the results will totally be the same. You can see over here the results which I mentioned with you in the example which I did with you on the paper. You can see the results actually totally the same results. In the FIFO method, we are reporting a gross profit of 9,000. As I already mentioned, that we are reporting it more because in the FIFO method, we are using inventory as cost of goods sold at the old rates. So our cost of goods sold will be less. When our cost of goods sold will be less, our gross profit and the net profit will be overstated. On the other side, when we used LIFO method, in the LIFO method, you can see we are reporting more CGS. When we report more CGS, then it is going to give us less gross profit. And at the end, we used weighted average. When we used weighted average, then you can see that the average is basically, it is a central tendency measure or a mean kind of thing. So you can see 7,200, which is in between these two extremes. So this explains that how the inventory is going to have an impact if the company use LIFO, FIFO or weighted average, how it is going to have an impact on the income statement and balance sheet. And we need to see this also. By the way, this I explained to you in the income statement. If we go to the balance sheet, then in the balance sheet, you will be reporting in the balance sheet under FIFO method. You can see this is FIFO. So under FIFO method, we are reporting more assets, which means we are overstating the asset as compared to LIFO and weighted average. When we are using LIFO, then we are reporting less assets. And when we are using the average, then we are using it as an in-between between these two. Now, because the FIFO method is reporting more inventory in terms of dollar, more profit in terms of dollar, this 9,000 is more as compared to LIFO and weighted average. So this profit is basically in some books, it is called FIFO phantom profit. It is called FIFO phantom profit. FIFO phantom profit, it is, we call it because it is something which we were not expecting, but yes, it is invisible, but we now after analyzing or comparing, we can see the difference. This FIFO phantom profit is basically the result of these two elements. First is economic profit and the second one is holding gain. The economic profit is basically the profit between the selling price, and the cost of the inventory. And the holding gain is basically the difference between the inventory which we purchased earlier and the inventory which we purchased this year. This is the inventory which we purchased, current rate of inventory, and this is the inventory which we purchased earlier. So this difference between 600 minus 500 is 100. This is the difference between our different levels of inventory when we are purchasing them at different time periods. By the way, this FIFO phantom only happens when the prices are increasing, when we are buying the raw material, when we are buying the different inventory levels at different time periods, then this FIFO phantom happens only. Then if you see over here, the difference between these two, 800 minus 600, and the answer is 200. 200 times 30 is going to give us 6,000. So 6,000 plus 3,000 is total 9,000. And this is the same 9,000 which you are seeing it at this point. This is the same 9,000. So this is how we are calculating this 9,000, and this is called FIFO phantom profits. After these differences, then this is the same this is the same slide which helps us to identify the inventory costing on the balance sheet and the inventory costing effect on the cash flows. So the same thing which I highlighted over there is written over here. In periods of rising prices, when the prices are rising, then LIFO reporting reports ending inventories at the prices that can be significantly lower than the replacement cost. And over here, replacement cost refers to that cost at which we are buying the inventory now. As a result of this, the balance sheet with LIFO companies do not accurately represent the current investment in inventories. On the other side, what will be the effect on our cash flows? The increase in the gross profit under FIFO also result in higher pre-tax income. You can see the same thing which we have highlighted. We have higher pre-tax income. Because of this high pre-tax income, our calculated liability, tax liability, will also be more. So this is the idea, this is the difference, these are the effects of the balance sheet and cash flows. Next, a very small topic. This topic is called LIFO liquidation, and this LIFO liquidation happens in the period of rising prices. This is basically a reduction in the inventory quantities, and we call it as a LIFO liquidation. Basically, the companies are required to maintain each cost level as a separate pool of inventory. When a reduction in the inventory occurs, this occurs as a company becomes leaner or downsizes. Companies dip into earlier cost levels or layers to match against their current selling prices. For FIFO inventory costing, this does not present a significant problem, as ending inventories are reported at the most recent acquired costs, and earlier cost layers do not differ significantly from the current cost layers. LIFO liquidation, I am not going to put too much emphasis on LIFO liquidation, because the LIFO method is basically abolished by International Financial Reporting Standards, because it is not being used in IFRS. So that's why we are just not going to use this method, or you can see over here the next topic of our discussion is restatement of LIFO to FIFO, and these are the steps. If we want to restate the LIFO to FIFO, these are the steps which are in front of us. Since LIFO method is no more being used under IFRS, so we will just be ignoring these two topics over here. I already mentioned a little bit about LIFO liquidation, but this restatement of LIFO to FIFO, we are not going to discuss into more details. I hope so that today's session was an interesting one. You guys have today learned about inventory valuation, and we have discussed different inventory valuation techniques and the effect of these inventory valuation techniques on the income statement and balance sheet of the companies. Thank you very much for your time, and inshallah, see you in the next video.